Okay, everybody, this is Sheets, and I'm going to be going over the NBA slate for tonight. Bobby is in Arizona, taking a break off of just doing just terrible, nasty things to the NBA slates. I mean, if I read his text right, he had something like 7 straight winning NBA days, which to me is just like almost a statistical outlier. I mean, that's like amazing. I don't think I've had 7 straight winning days of anything, like in anything in my life. So good for him and good deserved break. I'd love to be able to follow that up with some content, but we'll see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go do DraftKings and I'm going to do FanDuel, and I'm going to go over kind of like my favorite plays and then just kind of go over how I think I'm going to end up constructing. And this is just the way I'm looking at it on a 2-game slate. So I guess, first of all, with DraftKings, I have 3 guys that are kind of, I consider myself like priorities, or maybe 4 guys. Like I'd like to get 2 of the following 4 guys in, and it's going to be difficult to do. So it's going to be Kawhi, Jokic, Tatum, and George. Like those 4 guys just kind of rate to be just really good combinations of upside, raw points, decent value. You know what I mean? So I do want to get hopefully 2 of those in. I think in this particular lineup that I built here, I think I just have 2. I have Jokic and George, which is fine. I think if I had to rank them, I would say, I don't know. I really don't. It would be close between the top 3, between Tatum, Jokic, and Kawhi. And then maybe a little bit of a drop down to George, but not too much. So that's kind of like my first comment. And the way I'm going to attack the slate, like I said, is probably going to make 3 different builds. Like one build, I'm going to have just a whole bunch of people from the Boston-Toronto game. Another build, I'm going to have a whole bunch of people from the LAC-Denver game. And another build, I'm going to probably just be like a stock picker, so to speak, and just kind of pick my favorite players. So why don't we do that? Why don't we just go kind of game by game here? And I'll just go through my favorite plays, and we'll try to build a lineup out of that. So again, we'd like to play, for example, Jokic and George. Those are like 2 kind of priorities. So let's like clear the decks here and see if we can't identify kind of top plays at each position, which what I'd like to do is use Clippers and Denver guys in that. So I'm first going to look at point guard. So point guard, my favorite, I mean, Kemba and Lowry I consider very, very similar. And neither of them are from this game. The best point guard from this game is going to be obviously, well, I say obviously, but Jamal Murray. And I'm looking at it, I do think he's a little bit, is he that much worse? I mean, according to my rankings here, he's very similar, honestly, to Lowry and Kemba. So if that's the case in this type of lineup, I would love to put him in. The question is there enough value to kind of make this work? Okay, so again, we're trying to get what we're doing with this particular lineup is try to find Clipper Denver guys, because with the exception of Tatum, who I mentioned, there's no like must-have guy from the Celtics. You know what I mean? There's no must-have guy from either team really. So you want to try to for this lineup, I want to try to stack this game. So God forbid this goes to overtime, you're in good shape. Now, again, a perfect world is you're going to get guys that are going to be closing, but you might not be able to achieve that. So let me see. Instinctively, the first thing I would think about is see if I liked Lou Williams here. So yeah, he's okay. I guess he's the next best Clipper, with respect to value and everything like that. Just kind of scrolling down here. Yeah, you know who it would be? It would be Jeremy Grant from Denver and Lou Williams from the Clippers. So let's see if we can get both those guys in. So let's put in Lou Williams, and then who did I say? Grant. So let's see if we need him more in the small forward position or in the power forward position, because usually we look for guys in the small forward position. We're just going to see. So I'm kind of looking at my list here and seeing like the next best values here. And the next best is going to be from this game is going to be Zubac, who looks to be actually pretty good value anyway. So we already used Jokic in the center position. What is Zubac's price here? He's 4,900. Now you see that we're starting to run out of money too, right? But we'll be able to find some. We'll be able to find some value somewhere. Oh, and Mrs. Sheets just made my whole day with his shrimp cocktail.
Shrimp crackers?
Oh no, thank you.
Shrimp salad.
Oh, shrimp salad. Thank you, Cuomo, for quarantine. I get shrimp salad.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so let's see what happened. We did put Zubac in here. Then we only have 3,600 per player. I wonder if you can get that done. The reason why you're not going to be able to is because the first value I would go to probably be at the guard position. Actually, that's not true. You know what you could do? Didn't JaMychal Green get a few more minutes in his last game? Or no? He got 25 minutes. I mean, you can do this. You know, I just want to see something before I start trying to make this work. All right. So when you do this type of build, you're going to have, you can't have everybody from one game. So you have to find someone from the Boston-Toronto game. It's 3,600. And let's see if they did it to you. Yeah, they let you do it. So if you want to play this way, you can come right back. Oh, no, we don't want Grant Williams. Shoot, I got confused. One of the Robert Williams. I mean, well, although Grant Williams did get 15 minutes, but that's not going to work. The other thing you can do to make this type of build work, I mean, if you can only go from one team, you can go to Torrey Craig, right? So, again, we're trying to stack this game, and so far it's stacked up really nicely. But if you had to make one change, because you do have to make one change, for a Boston-Toronto guy, yeah, this is the problem, isn't it? Ooh, Norm Powell wouldn't be so bad if we can make him work. Or if we didn't want to use Lou Williams, we'd almost make that work. Or if you didn't want to use Jamal Murray, see, that wouldn't be the right idea. I think you really need to use Jamal Murray in this type of build. Oh, this looks so, it's not going to let me? It's really not going to let me do it with just one team? That's like a little annoying, isn't it? So let's just kind of rebuild. What we'll do is, who's my favorite play from the Boston-Toronto game? Well, it's probably going to be Tatum. What's the next one? Probably going to be Lowry. So what you can do, this is definitely going to be different. If you can put Lowry in from here, Lowry or Kemba, it really doesn't make too much of a difference. Then you could upgrade either Gray or either Craig or JaMychal Green. And then what you could do is you do something like this. Then you could do Lowry and Norman Powell, or even better. A little better correlation here without Powell and Lowry together. So this is something you could do if you want. This is an almost full Denver LA stack. Except what this does is it doesn't have Jamal Murray. Interesting. But we're going to do this just for the hell of it. To give you an idea of what you could do. What we're going to do is put I think we did. I think I did 9 entries in this big one, in 9 entries in the 20 max, and 3 single entry things, or did 4? Okay, so let's put that like, hang on, this, boom, okay. Okay. Next thing we're going to do, and this is how we're going to go over the Toronto-Boston game, is we're going to clear this deck again, and we're going to take our favorite Boston Toronto players. So again, you want to have one of those top 3 guys, so you definitely want to have Tatum, okay? And what you're going to do is, again, I really am going to need one of those George Jokic's or Leonard's. I don't know if we're going to be able to get away with playing Kawhi in this build. I think we're going to be forced to have Paul George be our one guy from the Clipper game. Again, that's provided you want to have, 2 guys. So that's fine. So you have just Paul George. And then what you want to do is just play all Boston, Toronto guys that look good. So I think Kemba and Lowry are just kind of forced. So can you do this? Can you play Kemba and Lowry and have 4,000 left? See, this is the problem with the Paul George play. What you're going to have to do is we're going to have to go back to JaMychal Green, I think, if you're going to want to play more guys in this Boston-Toronto game. Right? We'll get back to that in a second. So my favorite guys in this game, we got Lowry and Kemba. Next favorite guy is actually going to be Siakam. Now, how's that going to work? So once again, we're going to get back to some of these cheapies. So let's see, who else in the Celtic game? Why is Robert Williams all of a sudden just not projecting well? I think that can be a pretty sneaky play here. So I'm definitely going to put him in. Okay. So put Robert Williams in here. And again, we still don't even know which Denver guy we're going to use. Ooh, but I have a good feeling. I have an idea. Actually. Who else? Let's see, what kind of starters do we like? I do like Fred VanVleet, and I like Brown and Smart. Okay, so let's put in Smart, Brown. We're not going to be able to afford all these guys, and then VanVleet. Okay, and so now we have 9,200 that we have to replace. So we are going to probably get rid of this and maybe take a stand with somebody for this Denver game that we didn't even think about, like maybe like Michael Porter or something like that. Okay, so if you did this, then we come back. Yeah, you're going to have to get more than one guy over here because the Boston-Toronto, I guess, value is the best way I could say it. It's just a little bit too expensive. I still think Powell at 4K is worth it. I still think Powell at 4K is worth the stab. And then you could get JaMychal Green in here. So that's what you could do. You could play the 4 Boston guys, Kemba, Brown, and Tatum. Robert Williams coming off the bench. Then you could have Lowry and Powell on the Toronto side. Now, again, if you wanted to, if you wanted to come back to Siakam, you could. And then what you could do is not play Jaylen Brown, for example. Put Siakam down here. You get a little more balance, right? And then Michael Porter Jr. in here. So that's pretty freaking good. So that's a really good way to stack the the Toronto game. Yeah. There, I'll put this over here. Good. Okay, so those are 2 different builds, and now the last one okay, is going to be where we kind of mix and match. So like I said, this one's going to be a Celtic build. Excuse me, this one's going to be a this one's going to be the where's the Clipper build? This one's going to be the Clipper build. Right? Only one guy from the Celtic game in here. This one's the one we have to make be the style. All right, so let's clear the deck here and let's just see what we can come up with just good plays. So again, what I'm doing is, again, this is all has nothing to do with ownership, okay? So we're gonna just put in my favorite kind of point per dollar plays, and we're gonna do it from this time we're gonna do it from the bottom up, in other words, with respect to value here. So here, let's go with a guy that we haven't played yet. Let's put in, well, there are three centers I like. So there's Jokic, Zubac, and Gasol at 4,400. So what if we put in Jokic, and we haven't played any Gasol yet, so it's been so tentative though. So let's just start with these two again, Jokic and Zubac. My next favorite is probably going to be Jeremy Grant, just on a pure value perspective, and then we'll see what the lineup looks like when we're done with it. Next one is probably going to be Paul George. It just is. Where's Paul George? Put him in the shooting guard. Power forward. Yeah, I'm playing any Millsap. He's probably a decent play at 4,700. Again, he's not going to knock the cover off the ball in the whole slate, but it's only a 2-game slate. You don't really want to play Grant and Millsap together, though. So, we haven't played yet. We haven't played any Tice, who actually shows up to be a decent play. So in this build, we could put Tice in here. And you can see this is going to be a little bit more middling. My favorite point guard is probably Lowry. So we're going to put him in here because, remember, we put Kemba in our, single that build where we had nothing but the Clippers game. We put Kemba in instead of Lowry. So in this one, we're going to put Lowry in. And then we just have two kind of slots to fill with a guard and a forward, 4,100 each. Again, I'm still going to go back to this JaMychal Green idea. And then you could do any of those guards. So you can play Gary Harris if you want. So what do we have? We have still too many from this game, so we should probably take someone from the Toronto game. Oh, there you go. Okay. Do have 700 extra to spend, but do I really need it? Let's just see. Do I really need an upgrade here? I haven't played Anunoby yet. This one has 1 Toronto, 1 Boston, 2 Torontos, 1 Boston. I want to keep a little Boston exposure. I could play Jamal Murray in this lineup, actually. I forgot. So let's do that. Okay, so we're going to do that one. So that fills up all of this, right? So we've done this. We've had 3 distinct builds. We have a best plays build. We have a stack the first game build. And we have a stack the second game build. And then it'll just be a question of just kind of see where we're at. So like right now, it turns out we got 100% JaMychal Green, 100% Powell, which is a little scary. So we're probably going to end up whittling those down a little bit. But that's just kind of the way I build, especially on 2-game slates. I have everything right in front of me. I don't have to run crunches. I know I have my little spreadsheets over here. So you want to see my little spreadsheet? I'll show you my spreadsheet real quick. So like here's like my spreadsheet where I actually have like my different ratings and stuff like that. But I have it all in front of me now. I mean, I don't need to run crunches to get a good 2-game slate build. And that's it. That was DraftKings. Sorry. I really didn't get to FanDuel too much. But let me just, just really quickly, let me just go over my favorite plays on FanDuel. Where is FanDuel? No, that's Roto brand new site. I don't want to get too much involved with that. Where did I go? That's baseball. And this is an old one. Baseball, I don't know where to find it. But I will tell you my best plays. My favorite play on FanDuel is going to be Jokic at center. And then same thing. I mean, either Tatum, Leonard, or George. I probably want to get one of those guys in. This is my main dummy lineup right here, where I was able to get Jokic and Grant, who I think is a really strong play, and Paul George, Kemba, Lou Williams. It's a little fishy because, again, I got Paul Millsap and Grant, which is really don't want the same lineup. So I'm probably going to have to tweak that a little bit. But basically, it's a 2-game slate. You know, you could play, I won't say you can play whoever you want, but pricing soft enough where you can get in most of who you want. And just make sure that you correlate in some reasonable fashion. That's it. I hope I was informative enough, and good luck tonight.